to order if everybody's ready. We're good? Good evening and welcome everyone to the Cadillac Planning Commission meeting here for January 28th, 2013. This time I'd like to call us to order. And then anyone that would like to join us, do we have to do a roll call first, sir?
No, go ahead.
Just call to order and we can do that down the line. So if everyone would like to join us for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we can do roll call, please, Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Barnett?
Here.
Champlin?
Here.
Van Lente? Absent. Smith? Absent. Peterson? Absent. Schichtel?
Yes.
Gregg?
Here.
Fent? And Putvin.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, sir. At this stage, everyone, we can have an approval for this evening's agenda. Again, for January 28th, 2013. And due to one of the public hearing people not being present, we will probably move the new business in front of that other public hearing, if we will, because then we can just move that along. So do I need that in this for this? Is that okay?
Somebody needs to make a motion to
Change that?
change the,
Make a motion to change that.
Support.
Mr. Champlin, seconded by Mr. Gregg.
okay, so the motion is to approve the agenda subject to moving item 6 up to between 4 and 5. Is that
What you
correct?
said, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's call the roll here.
Yes, please.
Motion to approve the agenda with the change. Gregg?
Yes.
Schichtel?
Yes.
Champlin?
Yes.
Barnett?
Yes.
Putvin?
Yes,
It's approved.
thank you.
Jan's here.
Zig and zag there. Okay. Welcome, sir.
Here.
Okay. Any public comment this evening? Okay. There being none, we will move to the approval of December 18th, 2012 meeting minutes, which were in everyone's packet. And rather lengthy, and wow, we were here a long time, 9:30.
Thank you.
Well, wasn't all my fault.
You covered for me and someone else.
Oh, that's
wasn't-
right, you weren't
Mr. Gregg
here.
wasn't present either. We were both, since people were moving the date around for Christmas, or I think that's what it was.
Jerry's fault, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Now that that's established, okay.
No, it's my fault. I had something going on that night I couldn't get out of. It's the oddball night, but that's where it goes the next night
where it
after the
goes.
Monday.
You got it. Still waiting on approval, though.
Still waiting. It's hard for me.
Make a motion.
Okay.
I wasn't here. That's,
I'll second it, Jerry.
Okay. A motion by Smith, supported by Champlin, to approve the meeting minutes of December 18th, 2012. Barnett?
yes.
Champlin?
Yes.
Schichtel?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Gregg?
Yes.
Putvin?
Yes, sir.
Motion approved.
Moving right along, election of officers, Mr. Adams.
Yeah, typically, each year, each January, we have election of officers. There's two positions. There's the chair and the vice chair. And it's all right to maintain the same officers if you so desire. So there aren't any time limits, so to speak, on how long an officer, be it chair or vice chair, can serve. But we do, for the record, we would like to have an election tonight. And you can do these, you can combine the two if you like, if you wish.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Putvin for the chair.
Mr. Fent for,
Vice
I'd like to
chair.
nominate Mr. Fent for vice chair.
Hey,
Unless anyone else wants the job.
no, but this was our night we're gonna take Johnny out. Please? How about, those are good nominations.
Need a second?
I don't think you do for nominations,
We-
but
Not really, no. Are there any other nominations?
I tried.
You did. I compliment you.
Okay, so for chair, it's John Putvin, and for vice chair, it's Kevin Fent, and we will do a vote on this. Okay, Schichtel,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Barnett,
Yes.
Champlin,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Putvin.
Do I need to withdraw because I'm part of this?
You have to
Yes.
abstain.
Very
from the
good, thank
vote.
you. All right.
Sorry.
Wow, lucky.
Thank you for doing
Cool.
that, actually, with all kidding aside.
I have offered it to everyone. Okay, we have a public, no, is this part of a public hearing?
This is
No.
not part of a
It's not
public-
part of a public hearing. New business. We are considering a lot division request for a parcel commonly addressed as 610 Chestnut Street. To everyone here, support document 6A in your packet. And having read that, Mr. Adams will bring us up to speed.
Go through this quickly. We're dealing with essentially a lot that's somewhat L-shaped. It's noted in your packets, also up on the monitor. This lot, by the way, lies essentially directly west of the Cadillac High School, the football field, and at one point in time, the lot where you see what we've denoted as A, at one point in time, several years ago, there was a house here. That house has since been torn down, but what we've denoted on the drawing as lots A and B right now exist as a single lot. And should have revised this drawing a little bit, but let me just explain something. When this area was originally platted, what we call Lot A consisted of both of these sides. Lot B consisted of both of those sides. Over the years, what's happened is the east half of Lot B has been added to what is we've called again Lot A. So it's a single parcel. And what the applicant wants to do essentially is divide the parcel into A and B, and we'll get into that in just a second. And the applicant's not here tonight, or the property owner, but Ed Van Alt. I think all of you know Mr. Van Alt. He's a local attorney. He's representing the property owner, and likely may want to say something after I'm finished. The applicant is Davy Thompson, the son, I believe, of the former owner. Okay. Mentioned that Ed is the attorney that's representing Mr. Thompson. Again, the request is to divide the existing parcel into two buildable lots. And whenever we split or receive an application to split what's called a platted lot, a division of a platted lot, the authority to do that rests with the city council. However, the city code indicates that it is the city's council's responsibility following a recommendation from the planning commission. Again, we're dealing with, at least in part of this, a platted lot. And essentially, that was a lot that was created as part of an approved subdivision. This one was created years ago. As I mentioned, platted lots may be divided subject to city council approval or city council authorization following a recommendation from you. The present lot is zoned R2, and just for clarification, there'll be no change in zoning. We're not dealing with any change in zoning tonight, so. In terms of the R2 district requirements, I thought it'd be helpful just to go over these quickly. It's in your packet again. The R2 zone district requires a minimum lot area of 9,000 square feet, a lot width of 75 feet, maximum of 40% lot coverage, and then there are the various building setbacks, front 25 feet, the rear 30 feet, and the side. For interior lots, the side yards have to be at least 8 and 10. However, any side along a street, and this happens to have 3 street frontages, if other than what's the side that's designated as a front yard, the other 2 street sides have to have setbacks of 20 feet. You'll see why I went over this in just a second. Again, the applicant would like to create 2 lots. The first one known as what I've called Lot A, and the second one, this longer Lot B. In terms of Lot A, both of these lots, by the way, if approved, if the division is approved, will be compliant with the R2 standards, and that's critical. In the case of Lot A, the smaller one, it will have a lot area of a little less than 11,000 square feet. And as I indicated earlier, in the R2 district, you need 9,000, so it's more than adequate for that. It will have a lot width of a little over 82 feet. Only 75 feet is needed. It will have sufficient room for complying with the front, side, and rear yard setbacks, not an issue. And in terms of, based on this lot size, they will be able to build up to 3,800 square feet of ground floor building area for a house, garage, and so forth. It's a lot of building area. So the lot is more than sufficient to accommodate the requirements of the R2 district. And again, there's that Lot A. Now we're going to look at Lot B. Lot B will have a little over 21,700 square feet of lot area. Again, you only need 9,000. The lot width, it depends on where you measure it, but along the Linden Street, it'll have 264 feet of frontage. Along Chestnut, a little over 82. And along Walnut, it appears it'll have about 82, a slight variation in the widths. Again, the lot will have sufficient room for complying with the various building setbacks. And in terms of lot coverage, because of the size of this lot, they'll actually be able to cover upwards to 7,600 square feet of ground floor building, or 7,600 square feet of the lot with the ground floor building area if they so desired. I doubt that'll happen, but so that they could. Again, this is the lot we're dealing with. It's a little trickier, interestingly, to develop this lot because of the 3 frontages, Walnut and Linden and Chestnut, but it can be done. Again, the proposed lots are consistent with the R2 zone district standards, and the resulting lots, they are dimensionally compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. In fact, they'll be a little bit larger than some of the lots in the surrounding neighborhood, but very consistent with what's happening around them. So there's nothing really unique about these particular lots. If you were to recommend approval to the City Council, I would recommend one condition, or a condition, let me read it, that ultimately, with the approval, we'd like to have the council add this as well, obviously, is the completion of a boundary survey by a qualified professional surveyor licensed in the state of Michigan, delineating the boundaries of the proposed lots, and the subsequent recording of the survey with the Wexford County Register of Deeds. Copy of the recorded instrument shall be provided to the Cadillac City Clerk, and the survey preparation and recording costs shall be borne by the applicant. Invariably, when we get into our older residential neighborhoods, we often find when we start dividing up lots that there can be some survey issues. So I'm assuming that ultimately these lots may be sold, and I think it would be appropriate to have them a boundary survey done, have it recorded, so that we're certain of where the property lines and so forth are. With that, like I said, Mr. Van Alsten's here, Mr. Chair, and I'm not sure if he has anything to add, but...
Does anybody have any questions for Ed, I guess? Mr. Adams covered it quite nice, yeah.
I've got a couple of questions. What happened to that house that was there? Did that burn first, or just got torn down?
It's torn down.
Just torn down. And how come they're not dividing B into 2 lots instead of one large one? It's kind of curious.
I'm not sure what my client wants to do with that piece of property.
Okay.
He may want to sell it as one piece to somebody, he may want to hold on to it, I don't know.
Okay, I just was curious about it.
I'm just going to indicate, for the record, I do know Dave Thompson and his two siblings. They're both deceased, Dion and his sister as well. And of course, this is Doris Thompson's property, who worked at the city for 40 years in the water department. So, and I know they've been trying to do something with it. over the last few years, but my involvement was almost nil, and he's mostly an acquaintance and a nice supporter of mine, but beyond that, it doesn't affect what my vote would be. I just want to let everybody know I do know the individual and the history of the family, which is good, and Doris, who worked for us for over 40 years. Nice family.
Again, this will be a recommendation to the
Right.
Cadillac City Council.
I see no issue with it.
Likewise.
It all looks very straightforward and fitting, and a nice step, hopefully, to have him sell these and whatever he wants to do with them.
I'll make a motion to approve it with the conditions set by city staff.
Hey.
Roll call, please.
Hey. It was moved by Champlin, supported by Greg, to recommend approval of the a lot division as applied for by Mr. Van Alst, subject to the condition of approval that you see on the monitor. Schichtel,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Barnett,
Yes.
Champlin,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
and Putvin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passed, or to council anyway.
I think Ed should have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Should.
I'll be thinking about you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
At this stage, we have public hearing. So we have a public hearing here to consider a request from Todd Winkle representing TTP Financial Group. He lives at 6769 West Falmouth Road, McBain, Michigan, 49657, for a rezoning of 1113 Burlingame Street from RMH One Family Residential Mobile Home District to a B3 General Business District. So everyone, this is support documents 5A in your packet. And having read that, Mr. Adams, please.
Thank you. If you think you're familiar with this, you probably are. There was a similar request that was approved by the Planning Commission several months ago for another lot that abuts this one. And so when we get into it, again, a lot of these things will probably sound familiar to you. As a point of information, Todd, Mr. Winkle did call. He has another a meeting tonight as well, and it was a conflict. And we have had not had any communications from any of the surrounding property owners. So I did call the chairman, and John, and to indicate or ask if it would be okay if we. Somewhat excused, you might say, Todd, and didn't feel really it was necessary for him to be here tonight. I think I can answer all the questions that may surface. But let's go through it anyways. Again, the property is zoned as 1113 Burlingame Street. It's the property that's delineated, and you have this in your packet, by the yellow border. A few months ago, you recommended, City Council has since rezoned this parcel right here, right would be to the north, really, right next door. So that's been rezoned B3. As indicated, the applicants have filed an application for the rezoning of 1113 Burlingame Street from RMH to B3 General Business District, and we'll be looking at that in a second. The applicants, they have purchased this property. Their goal is to integrate it into the operation of Don's Auto Clinic, which is located at 1112 North Mitchell Street. At this time, the intended use of the property is for the parking of vehicles. And as I think you all know, Don's Auto Clinic they've been progressively purchasing the residential sites that are located west of Burlingame Street that are within, more or less within the bounds of their business operation, and so far have acquired, as you'll see, all of them except one. Just a couple of shots of, not really that great. There was a lot of snow when these were taken, but the site is vacant. Okay, this is Don's Auto Clinic located on Mitchell. This is Burlingame right here, but this is the site right there. Again, it's an interior vacant site, so you're not going to see a whole lot, at least on the photos. This particular house is the one house that remains. The subject site that we're dealing with is located to the south, down in this area. This is the parcel that was rezoned recently. This is a privacy fence that Don put up some time ago to block the views of the parking lot from this particular piece of property. And again, just another shot of the site that we're dealing with.
Is that house already gone? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, which they have the right to do.
All right. Yeah.
The site is a vacant interior lot, has 66 feet of frontage along Burlingame and a depth of about 148 feet. As indicated by the photo, let me go back real quickly. Don's abuts the site on the south, on the west, and also on the north. So Don's Auto Clinic property fully encapsulates more or less this site. And the properties lying east of Burlingame, across the street, so to speak, are zoned RMH residential mobile home. Those sites, you can put up a stick-built or you can put up a single-wide mobile home in those locations. Don's is zoned B3 general commercial, and as you'll see in a second, the majority of property in the neighborhood area between Burlingame and Mitchell is also all zoned B3. In fact, here's a zoning map. Again, this was in your packet. The Don's Auto Clinic site. This is the parcel that we're dealing with. Currently zoned RMH, but this is all zone B3. This is all zone B3 with the exception of the parcel we're dealing with tonight and this one remaining home. And this is all zone B3 to the south. This is Lincoln School, with the exception of a pathway that goes from the school, very seldom used, it seems like, to Mitchell. And that still retains its RMH classification, although you couldn't build anything there. And so, also too, it doesn't show it, but all of these properties along Mitchell on the west side are also all zoned B3. Essentially, this is part of the city's general commercial corridor. Rezoning is a two-step process, as I know you're aware. The first one is a review analysis of the request and a recommendation by you, this board, this body, to the city council, and you conduct a public hearing as part of this. And again, once you've made a decision, you'll be sending your recommendation on to city council, and city council will hold a second public hearing on this because it's an ordinance change. There are, I know it's kind of hard to see, there are essentially four basic considerations that you look at when examining a rezoning. Is the classification, the proposed classification, is it compatible with the area? Secondly, is the rezoning consistent with the city master plan? Thirdly, are there sufficient public facilities and services in the area, and are they capable of accommodating the use? And then lastly, is the proposed classification equal to or more appropriate than the existing classification? And you may look at other factors as well. I'm going to go through these rather quickly, but the first one, in terms of compatibility, as noted, the site is zoned RMH, residential mobile home, that allows for stick-built and manufactured homes, whereas the B3 provides for a range of commercial uses, including auto sales. I think the key thing here is that the block in which this parcel is located, 94% of the block is now zoned B3, except for the subject site and one small lot to the north. As I indicated earlier, B3 extends all the way from Mitchell to Burlingame throughout those three blocks that are located between 13th and Air. And likewise, the west side of Mitchell is also zone B3. Essentially what's happened is Burlingame has become, you might say, the dividing line between B3 and the RMH classification, residential classification. So from a compatibility standpoint, the rezoning of this parcel to B3 is consistent with the surrounding zoning. City master plan does encourage the assembly of small lots in the commercial district as a means of creating parcels of sufficient size to accommodate larger commercial developments. So this is consistent with the master plan in that respect. Public facilities and services, the site's fully served by municipal infrastructure, water, sewer, gas, electric, telephone, etc., cable, and those facilities and services are capable of accommodating the land uses that are proposed by the, or that are found within the B3 classification. And in terms of, again, this one's tough to see, is the B3 equal to or more appropriate than the RMH classification? Staff's opinion that the B3 classification is more appropriate. And as I noted earlier, 94% of the block is already zoned B3. With the exception of that one small lot, the B3 district extends throughout this area between Mitchell and Burlingame, as well as the west side. And historically, the city has moved towards the rezoning of this block to B3, consistent with the blocks to the north and the south. This is not one of the standards that's in the ordinance, but it's not considered spot zoning. That's where you take and rezone a little area inconsistent with surrounding parcels. The rezoning of the subject parcel to B3 is not considered spot zoning. The parcel is contiguous to a larger parcel zone B3, so it would be melded into that. The rezoning is consistent with the master plan, and as noted earlier, the rezoning is consistent with the rezoning of the adjoining commercial blocks to the north and the south. We did put notice in the newspaper. We also sent notices of the hearing and what was happening to property owners, residents within 300 feet. As of 5 o'clock today, at least, no written communications had been received. Just as a point of information, this has nothing to do with your action tonight, but this question gets asked once in a while. If this rezoning were to be approved, ultimately, if they're going to park vehicles there, let's say, they will have to do either a privacy fence or some landscaping along the various lot lines to help mitigate the impact from the surrounding homes. So, and they're knowledgeable of that, the applicant. The Planning Commission, again, your action is to recommend to the City Council either approval or denial of the application. And again, we're dealing, there's the parcel right there. Any questions?
Where would buffering be? I don't see the need,
Along here.
but yet,
If the Planning Commission were to, or if the city staff were to require.
okay.
You'll notice, for example, they've done buffering along here.
Yeah, there's some little
They're
hedging
aware
or something.
They're aware of that need.
So,
Where's that privacy fence, which,
The privacy fence
The one
was
that's
put up
already there?
because of the home.
okay.
The home. I can't see a privacy fence going up here. Privacy fence really aesthetically is, I think, much more objectionable than landscaping, and so we would be looking, from a site plan review standpoint, we'd be looking at some type of landscaping along there just to help mitigate the impact of the cars and so forth from the homes across the street. And there are some street trees in that area already, but we'd be looking to enhance those. And I would assume that at some point in time in the future, you'll probably see another rezoning request if they're ever able to acquire this parcel right here.
yep. Okay. Anything else from Mr. Adams before we open public hearing?
No, I guess, well, the only other thing I want to say is that it pleases me or staff that Dunn's Auto Clinic has shown interest in staying in the city.
Right.
when a lot of auto dealerships have gone to outlying locations, I'm not saying in this particular area, but they have, they've made a significant commitment. They're staying within the city, and I think that bodes well for the city. And they do a nice job of maintaining their site. They keep it very clean, very orderly, and I think they're a good neighbor.
Agreed. Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for comments. Anyone in the audience this evening wishing to come forwards and speak in favor of this, please come forwards. And there being lack of audience this evening, okay, we'll move to the second part of the public hearing, which is anyone wishing to speak in opposition. And there being none of that, so at this time, we'll close the public hearing and the board will deliberate at this time. And since we just had one from him, and I agree with Mr. Adams' statements of they're a great neighbor in the city to have, and they're doing a great job with that area. It's good.
I think it's a good thing. I move that we rezone it according to the staff's recommendations.
To the city council. Second?
All right, I would second that.
Was that the mayor?
Yes, sir.
It is. With the recommendation, we're going to send it on up to the city council.
To your
City
table.
council.
Roll call, please.
Okay, the
Or
motion
do you want
by
to read that
Schiffel,
back?
supported by Barnett, to recommend approval of the rezoning based on the staff report and the recommendations indicated therein. Barnett,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Champlin,
Yes.
Schichtel,
Yes.
and Putvin.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, one of our favorite things, old business this evening, the off-premise sign information to be provided.
Yeah, I just have a brief update. You'll be getting a packet for your next meeting. I'm pretty sure we're going to have the agreement between the farm market and the Downtown Cadillac Association. I've discussed this again with the city attorney. He'll be reviewing that agreement to see if it meets the requirements of the current city code in terms of compliance with being a nonprofit. And then it's going to really boil down to, do you want to kind of stop things and keep things as they are, or do you want to, still move ahead? But we're going to have a recommendation for you at that point in time. I'd like to wait and see what Mr. Homier says regarding this agreement, and going to get some feedback from him as to how we might proceed. So you will see something, this thing will finally get moving again. So
Good. Very good.
Thought we had just determined, though, Jerry, if I might, that this was a for-profit group. Am I right?
the farm market, you mean?
Yes.
I don't know that anybody's officially made that determination, but this will resolve that particular issue. If they fall, I believe it will, at least, and Mr. Homier thinks it will too, if the agreement is structured properly.
I know the farmers that come there, they're there for a reason, to make money for their work.
That's correct.
So that'll be interesting.
Similar to.
I'm not the attorney. So
I know. I'm just wondering how he's going to do this.
I'm not the attorney. I'm not the attorney.
Making black into white sometimes is not easy.
Similar to the art festival, right?
Yes, it is. Yes. They're,
Those people all are making.
yeah, the Downtown Cadillac Association sponsors the art festival, provides the insurance, et cetera.
Isn't that one, though, a 501c3 tax deductible entity that folks can make donations to?
Could, yes.
Thinking that it is, but it could be incorrect. I think they're meeting, are they meeting in this room tonight, or are they in McCauley
I
Center?
don't know where they're meeting. I don't know.
Let's not be here.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. There being no tabled items, any board member comments this evening?
Congratulations on your reappointment.
Yes.
I seen the voting going on now.
Thank
Well, thank you, though. Move deeply that you care for me that way.
Drilling deep.
Yeah, yeah. Any public comments on that being a no, and holy smokes, if nobody cares, we're out of here. Adjourned.
Thank you.